Thanks for tuning in to another episode of All Things Entrepreneur. We are a group of entrepreneurs who all got our start in real estate wholesaling and parlayed that success into multi-million-dollar business. It's your girl, it's Jessica Myers, the deal maker.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Mo Hustle, the she builder.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, it's the Grand Guy, the influencer.
I am Superstar Shauna with
DC John.
And together we are Flippin' Love.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Errol J. Allen.
It's time to get eight.
All things entrepreneur. It gets tough, but you gotta stick to it.
This is one of my boys, man. So prior to what everybody's getting ready to hear, I knew him, when he was dibbling dabbling in the streets, man. Always stay strapped in the streets. When we in the field, you gotta stay strapped. Yeah. So did a couple deals with my boy Book, man. Met him in 2018, 2017. 2017. Yeah. And now he getting ready to tell y'all some stuff that he got going that's crazy, man. So tell him, Book, a little about yourself.
Well, this is Booker T. Washington, CEO of Level Minded Investments. Been doing this since 17, around the streets of Atlanta. Met the Grind Guy and his crew. Everybody eats back then when I was out just beginning my career as an entrepreneur and real estate investor. So lots of journeys, lots of stories, so we get into it.
Even though I didn't know you then, I gotta put my swag in. we worked Atlanta Warriors and we went to the same high school.
We
so
did. Okay. Yeah, we alumni. So,
yeah.
But I want to throw something out, man. Did y'all hear what his name is though? Like when I first met him, I was like, man, you Booker T. Washington.
Right.
That's the first question.
Hey. I was like, wait. Booker T. Washington.
That's the first history with the name, man. So that's dope.
Booker T. Washington here. You're like, what?
Yeah.
No, really.
So we call him Book for short.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Booker T has found a niche within the real estate community that I think is changing the industry. And a lot of people love this novelty item. But can you explain, one, what you just did here in Atlanta, and then two, the concept of the niche that you found?
Yeah, absolutely. So what she's referring to is that we just recently broke ground on a historic community called South Park Cottages in College Park, Georgia. So this
Godby Road.
Godby Road.
Yes.
Godby Road is infamous. It's been in many rap songs. It's infamous for its neighborhood. So but my journey really to South Park Cottages started like 4 years ago. It started really in my first flip when I started flipping homes. I actually got bored of it really quick. They were doing flips and doing the spread and all that type of thing. I got bored of it. So I tried to reinvent the way that you can get the same marginal spread doing it a different way with less impact, less cost. So I actually started doing additional dwelling units. It was an underlying building code a lot of people weren't familiar with. People were still trying to do Airbnbs the standard way, single family homes. But these additional dwelling units was an Atlanta city code that was out there. So I started going to different celebrities and clients and building these ADUs in their backyard for their own personal purpose, to rent them out, to have them as guest houses, pool houses, the whole 9 yards. But what I discovered was I got the same amount of spread from doing a flip with less hassle. I could build them in 30, 45 days, get the same amount of money, keep it moving.
Now you mentioned ADU.
Yes.
And that's additional dwelling unit. Yes. But what is it also popularly known as?
The additional dwelling unit is also really just known as guest houses, pool houses,
tiny
homes.
Yeah.
But when we say tiny homes, there's different ways people think about tiny homes. People think most part about the recreational way the tiny home is built, which is on wheels. It's no different than a mobile home. You build a home on wheels, and it's not foundation. It's not considered a dwelling. That's why they call them additional dwelling units.
Okay.
And a lot of people, when you say tiny home, they think about the popular version of the way they do that. But what we're building are micro homes. So micro homes are foundation homes that are no different than a small cottage. All right. Most people don't know. In the state of Georgia, there is a building code in the state of Georgia that says any home under 400 square feet is a cottage by design. So that's why we call South Park Cottages cottages instead of South Park tiny homes or South Park homes or what have you. So there is a state of Georgia law that a lot of municipalities don't want to adopt, and they hide it, and that's the reason why they masquerade it with additional dwelling units. So once I really started digging through that, I said, you know what? There is a space for me to build my own community. They don't have to be a secondary home inside of another home.
I have a question because whenever we were about to get into container homes before, and we were told that in Atlanta, or I don't know if it was Georgia or Atlanta, that you could not build additional. You couldn't have a tiny house or a container house. It had to be an additional dwelling unit behind a house. So what you're saying is this cottage code, is it the cottage code?
No, the cottage.
The cottage.
South Park Cottages.
South Park Cottages.
Yes.
But that's different from what I was told. And I see like container homes in Atlanta, but not that much.
Right.
And I see some coming out in South Fulton.
Right.
But what you showed me the other night is I haven't seen that. But so what you're saying is that it can be done.
It can be done, but the part that's different, it can be done is the neighborhood, the community. Even the homes you see that container homes and different things, they're part of a different zone in another residential unit. They're not built individually by themselves.
Gotcha.
Because the building codes still don't comply with them being built by themselves. You have to go make that building code yourself, which is what College Park did for us individually. So I want, and when you see these container homes, people can build them for clients on a piece of land, but as a single family residential home, they can't build a community out of them. That's the reason why you don't see communities of them, because they haven't adopted the building code for it or zoning. Because for the size of these homes, they're still not considered single family dwellings. In the city of Atlanta, a dwelling still needs to be over 1,000 square feet to be officially named a dwelling in the city of Atlanta. So you can't go build a dwelling less than 1,000 square feet without having to get a variance.
Amen. So what's dope about this is like when you guys are seeing like people like Book or other individuals that are in real estate, they're bringing other different facets of the business that they're doing. So you guys are getting ahead of the curve. Like you may see ADUs going up, but not like a whole community. Like this is dope. He's giving you game on like talking to the cities, where you gotta go, and then these tiny homes or these ADU, these South Park cottage homes, micro homes. Yep. There you go.
Cottage.
These are like, I saw the design. These are like modern, right?
Modern design, open concept.
Modern design, open concept.
Yep.
So
What's the square footage?
We have three different models. The smallest model is 385 square feet. The second model is 470 square feet, and the largest model is 675 square feet.
I'm guessing that's like 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom studio.
Correct. And then the largest unit is 2 bedrooms.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How long did the process take? Because you said that you guys had to go through, I guess, getting College Park
to adopt it.
To adopt it. How long was that process?
Only took us 5 months.
And then now, since College Park adopted it, can anybody else go in and do it now? Or did you pave the way for everybody else? Or do we all have to go back and do it for College Park?
No. So we paved the way, but for whatever lot you get, you're going to have to reintroduce that with a plan that matches what South Park was.
Gotcha.
Or something.
So you
put
set
a
the
stamp
standard.
on it.
Yeah.
So basically, it's good to know you.
I've been on the advisory board and run the
Because they will ask you those things. We had to bring in a consultant onto our board too, as well as we went through the process. But it is the thing about real estate investing, people just think about the X's and O's and the numbers. Bring out the spreadsheet, look at the spread, does it work, does it doesn't work. South Park Cottages was much more about politics and different ways to introduce a vision and a strategy to people as it was about the money and the spread. And that's the bigger part of it. I mean, because when we bought that residential lot, it was just a residential lot, and we got told out front by College Park, we're not going to do it.
But y'all have already bought it.
But we had already bought it. So part of it is also risk. So you have to have a lot of faith in your strategic plan, and I knew from the person I bought it from exactly what I wanted when I asked him what land piece he had. I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted less tree obstruction. I wanted a clear middle area, a surrounded area. I wanted available road entrance, so I didn't have to construct all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you introduce a plan to the city, the more complex you make it, the more questions they have. So if we had infrastructure to build like roads and additional roads or a lot of tree obstruction, or we had protected trees, the city would have been like, well, we got a lot more questions here other than you just trying to build these structures. So we knew exactly what we wanted, went in with a plan, went in with a strategy, and it took politics. We took them out to dinner. We took them on a tour. We talked to them both intimately and professionally in their offices in order to get them to adopt the project all the way through.
So let's talk about level of acquisition. So you came in at you said you got bored of doing houses real quickly. Houses. At what point did you say, you know what, I want to do a cottage community, or I want to do something like on this scale, and then from the idea and then actually making it happen? How long did that take?
Well, that actually took some years. So I actually was doing those additional dwelling units for a couple years for clients and celebrities. But the thing about it, every time I would build one, a person would say, well, I want to see one. Well, you just can't go in so-and-so's backyard and see that tiny home. So unfortunately, what I had was nothing but pictures and videos. And so I said, that's not going to work for me long term. So I said, the way I'm going to adopt it is either do two things: build units for clients, which some people are trying to do right now. They're trying to make these container homes and sell them to a client, but they can't build a neighborhood out of them. So I said, I'm either going to do that or I'm going to build a neighborhood. So I focused all my attention on building an infrastructure, one from a venture capital standpoint to get support, and also started working on designs. Now, the one unique thing about me is I see designs in my head. I've been telling John this for years. Every time he walks with me, I can see a whole thing in my head and be like, I don't see that. But that's one thing that I was able to do, is design this community exactly how it was going to look. Because the city council actually asked me to design that property on a dime. It's like, what is this going to look like? Because we don't know how you're going to fit all these units on 3 acres. It took me 1 minute to sketch it out.
Wow.
So you said the build time is 30 to 45 days.
Yes.
How?
Well, one, it's only 500 square feet.
That's true.
It's only 500 square feet. And with an open concept with diminished interior walls, all you have to do is put up exterior walls. And the reason why we chose a shed roof design, which is a one diagonal design roof, is this is the simplest able design roof. It has a natural pitch for water runoff. It only uses one gutter. So you got to look at all the aspects of construction too that makes the speed happen. And that's the cost to it too. Yeah. So we didn't just say, oh, that looks cool. No, there was a reason behind the reason we did a shed roof. Also directionally for sustainability, to put solar panels on them. You can put them on an A-frame, which is a direct A-frame that looks like that, but you add more cost, the pitch of the roof, and you add more cost to lumber because you have to put those roof trusses in there. With a single shed roof, all you have to do one set of roof trusses.
Hey, what's crazy about this whole thing, man, this is affordable housing.
It is affordable housing. If the average medium home price in College Park is $275, in Atlanta it's $375. So if you introduce anything close to $200, that is affordable for people. It allows them to be able to put 3% down, $2,000 or $3,000, be able to have a mortgage of $1,000. The average rent increases is going up 16% per year on annual for rent in around Greater Atlanta.
So people are able to get finance on these micro homes, or are they having to buy cash?
Nope, full mortgage. You can mortgage anything that's valued as a foundational real estate property that's over $100,000. So if there is a value of something over $100,000, it is FHA eligible and any other conventional mortgage eligible. So these homes, these micro homes, will be 30-year mortgageable for anyone.
Talking about somebody that know their stuff, man. Like,
so
all the angles, like.
So that's the biggest part about building a community, because all those questions were brought by the city, and once they realized there was really no loss there, that's when they adopted it.
So who is the type of person that lives in tiny homes? Like, is it just a vacation spot, or you just go?
No.
Hold on.
I think it's
the people that live in these micro homes can be a spectrum of people, right? So you got to think about, what is an apartment? Apartment is a single family dwelling sandwiched between other dwellings with a community neighborhood. You got a common space, you got a gym, you got all those things, right? So the difference between that is what maybe square footage. But an apartment these days, 600 square feet, 700 square feet, is going to cost you $2,500 a month, $2,400 a month. But I don't get a yard. The location is one, right? But I don't get a yard. I might get minimal parking, okay? I don't get to stretch out. I don't get to entertain as much as I would in my own single family dwelling. So all a micro home is a detached apartment in some degree, okay? But you pay 3 times less the cost. You own it. You have ownership. You can appreciate, and you can build wealth with it. Yep.
I know where they get ready to go.
So, since we know you, I'm assuming there's a long waiting list.
Yeah.
Because for me, I see acquiring a few. I mean, I could probably help you buy the whole park from me. Then I'll the whole thing out, Airbnb or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds fire.
We currently have a waiting list for South Park Cottages over 275 people. And it grows every day.
How many units is it?
It's only 29.
Wow.
So
it's only 29
How
units.
y'all gonna narrow that? Yes, sir.
Well, the city did give us non-rental restrictions. So most people would say, well, is the city going to restrict rentals or Airbnbs? But the city gave us 85% owner occupied. So 4 of those units are going to be available for no rental restriction. Means you can short-term lease them, long-term lease them. For 4 of them. The other 25 will be open to anyone that wants to purchase them. It doesn't mean you can't rent them though. It just means you go on the waiting list. So for example, one of the 4 people say, you know what, I'm going to stay in it for 6 months. I'm not going to rent it out. Then the next person on the waiting list can rent out their unit. So it doesn't mean you can't rent yours out. It just means you go on the waiting list.
How long does that expire? So if I'm on the waiting list, do I have to wait until that tenant moves out, or can they only rent for a year or 2 years or 3 years?
They're going to follow the lease term. So whenever the lease term ends up, the next person on the waiting list can get in that lease term.
Do you have a property manager that oversees this, or is this all you?
Yep, no, we will have a property management company that oversees it. But the benefits of developing your own community, you write your own HOA. So we're going to be the very first black HOA that we construct for our own micro community. So we're going to manage it.
So that's truly for us, by us.
Yes.
I love it.
Truly for us, by us. And all of our investors are all black, so it's a 100% black developed community.
In College Park.
In College Park.
Off Gobby Road.
Off Gobby Road.
So not far from Tyler Perry Studios either.
Not far from Tyler Perry Studios.
Or the airport.
Or the airport. Or major organizations. Chick-fil-A is only 5 minutes away from there. Other major organizations border College Park right now. So the airport is a major employer, so it's going to allow blue-collar people to not be gentrified from their own neighborhood. They're going to be able to buy brand new real estate and stay where they are. Because if I'm renting in those apartments, I still have enough income to qualify for those loans.
Mm-hmm. So I got to know, and if you answer this question correctly, I call dibs. Are you working on the second part?
We are working on our second development already. It is going to be south of Atlanta. We're already stretching out and scaling out. We got into a partnership with an organization called OHUB, which is Opportunity Hub. It is the nation's largest black venture capital ecosystem built in the technology space. Okay, so with the power of OHUB, South Park Cottages and our future entities will be able to make all of our micro cottage homes tech savvy. So we're going to be able to embed things like laptops and imagination boards and iPads, and eventually our network of micro communities will all speak to each other in a sister community. Wow. And through the power of OHUB, everyone will be able to do things like skill up. We're going to start reserving a lot of those units inside the community for skill development, places to do content, to expand your career, and to give them tech training, because we do know those some of the highest paid industries. And by owning our own community, we can do what we want with those homes. So we're going to save them. We're going to be able to give people to be able to skill up with them. And that's all through the power of really having a strategy about how we bridge it together.
Is somebody on your team in the tech industry, or like how did all of that come about? Because that's a huge addition.
So the story behind how we actually partner with OHUB was the story behind just the strategy on getting the land. So OHUB is a venture capital ecosystem. So as I went out with really no partnership on how we was going to build this multi-million-dollar community, I needed partners. So I went on a roadshow. A roadshow is when you go and pick out all kinds of venture capital, angel investor funds, and you go speak to the strategy and the viability of your project. Okay, so I went on a roadshow talking to all these different entities about how we're going to build this micro community and make it affordable and make it obtainable. And then as I went from one venture capital fund to another. I found another, and they all adopted it, and they all started investing, and they all started providing advice and counsel. So as they provide advice and counsel, what I do is I put them on our equity advisory board. They maintain equity, and they maintain a decision-making piece in our business, but they help me scale up all of our communities going forward. But I had to do that on the fly because, honestly speaking, when I brought this project to several people, they said no. And so I don't do well with no. All I know is go forward. So whenever someone says no, I just figure out another way around it. And so we continue to do that over the last few months until we got that approval we needed to build that $5.7 million community.
So how does it feel right now? Hold on.
Yeah.
He ended it. Like, can you repeat what you just said at the end?
South Park Cottages is going to be a $5.7 million community.
Woo!
That's right.
Hey, I ain't gonna tell y'all how much you bought it for, bro. I know all the numbers. I'm excited.
And we can go through it. So a lot of people say, well, how did you find the land? How do you do it? So
Speaking on that, interjection, you were actually going to buy that.
And that's what I told you the other day, because the wholesaler sent me and I went out and I was all excited, like, oh, we found the land. And then they lost they lost their contract or something. So then I was supposed to follow up, but we was busy. But this was for you. That's why I didn't get it.
The way I came across this land is the person I had searching for it. I was just checking my email one day. He said, I think I sent you something you're looking for. He sent it to me. I just looked at the overall aerial shot of the clearance of the land and how big it was, and I said, that's it. So I hit him right back. I said, if it's available, cool. But believe it or not, it took us 2.5 months to even close that property. Although we could have closed it in 10 days, monetary wise, it took 2.5 months. The seller had some liens on it. We had to work through it. The price went up. The price went up $30,000, but we didn't even care because I knew the value of it in the long term. So we purchased it for $150 and we turned that $150,000 piece of land into a $5.7 million community.
Does the seller know this now?
Yes.
He does now.
So the seller's very aware. But when we talked about the project, when I told them what I was purchasing it for, everyone just thought I was crazy. No, you're not going to be able to do that. There's no building code that exists for that. There's no zoning that exists for that. You must going to build condos. You must be lying to me. You're going to do condos or duplexes. No, we're not going to do any of those because there's enough condos and duplexes in and around College Park. So this product was going to be revolutionary because the thing about it is, well, you don't have any comps. How are you going to value it? Over $180,000, but the power of buying your own is you can set your own comps and build your own community. You're not dependent upon anyone when you have control of your vision and your strategy and you know what you want. And the most important part is when people believe that you know what you want, they adopt everything that you want to do. And that's what happened with the city council.
Amen. Okay.
Sorry, I did have a quick question for anybody out there that's wondering. You said that College Park, they gave you the 85%?
Yeah.
4 houses can be rental. Is that just the code for College Park, or is that something that, who decides that? Like, why can't it be rentals for all, like 100%?
Well, we negotiated it because when we began that project, College Park said all those homes are going to be 100% owner occupied. We don't want to rebuild the element that is already on Godby Road with the rental stigmatism. So it took us several city council meetings to get them to adopt and allow us through a very structured governance that we were going to have to allow us to have that 85%. So we started where we started at a no, then we moved to okay, maybe we'll do it. Then we moved to well, we do it. It got to be 100% owner occupied. Then it moved to okay, then you're going to need a covenant and an HOA. Then it moved to well, if you guys have this structured in the right way. Because you guys have your act together, all right, we'll give you 4 units. Because we do understand it's close to the airport, a person not going to stay in it long term. We got to offer flexibility, and then everyone else gets on the waiting list.
Gotcha. So is it a way to continue getting more of the houses being able to be rented, or is that just something that's final and you leave it alone?
That's final. That's part of our stipulations we got when we got our zoning variance, which we got a special zoning variance. So if anyone wants to come back behind and look this up in the city of College Park, it's going to say a special RM3 tiny home condominium zoning. So we got our own zoning for this property and every property like it to follow. Because we also got a variance to put homes 10 feet apart instead of 20 feet apart, which is the standard variance for any single family residence. And people say, well, why do they move it? Well, people fear house fires from jumping, so that's one reason why they space them out. So in order to do that, we also adopted some stipulations for sprinklers in our interior units, and also adopted some fire retardant construction pieces that we'll use for some of our interior units.
So what do you foresee the end goal for this? Do you want to bring this across the country, or what's
this? Absolutely will go across the country. Ever since we adopted this and started to advertise this community, I've gotten phone calls from municipalities in Baltimore, in Newark, in Alabama, because this is a way for cities that are gentrifying to slow it. Because they absolutely can put these within their communities and get people from renting to be able to afford them. The cost of construction is low impact. It provides a new version of real estate, and then it actually stretches out the municipalities from creating density out of backyards. Okay, a lot of the municipalities are trying to create density by using single-family residences and putting more homes inside of that. So if they can introduce its own zoning, they're going to reduce the density behind homes, and that's going to be a much more attractive product for entry-level buyers, because they're not sitting in somebody's backyard or in a space or as an Airbnb. So, we're going to create a whole little network of tech micro homes, techie homes.
So why did you choose this over just not going with container homes?
Well, container homes still have a materials aspect to it. It's hard to develop and price across a whole community. Doesn't mean you can't do them. Container homes are used for like a lot of retail places right now, but residential wise, there's still a lot of things you have to do inside of a container home. People might tell you it's easy, but it's not really easy, because there's a lot of installation and different things you have to do inside of them that is just as cost prohibitive as you're doing a stick build. So because of availability and time, we chose to go with a stick build. It doesn't limit, though, that we won't do a container home, but now that we can produce a design that works, we can adopt it anywhere.
Okay.
And the crazy part, I like the part that I'm a big advocate of being told no as well. I don't like to be told no. So for the viewers, when somebody's telling you that you can't do something and you believe in yourself that you can, what do you say to that?
Whenever someone tells you no, you just have to figure out the different ways to ensure that it's a yes. But the biggest part about entrepreneurship or any strategy that you have is no one's going to believe you till you believe you. You can fake me out and make me believe that you believe you, but people can see through that. And that's the reason why you go to city council meetings and they turn you down. Because, to be honest, our last city council meeting hung on one dissenting vote, and it was the mayor. And I had to do like a 25-minute filibuster on why I thought this community was so important and why it was going to impact College Park. I went through tax benefits to the city, school benefits for children, single-family benefits for a single person. I went through the metrics of how a recently graduated college student is going to be able to afford these and benefit the community. But I had to go on this 25-minute filibuster. And when I finished, the mayor was the tie-breaking vote. And she says, I believe in this project not because of the project, but because of you. Because as long as you are running this project, it's going to be successful. And that is the real key to entrepreneurship. You have to be able to design a business that outscales you as a person, and people believe in that project based upon how much thought you put into it. Because people can see through money. So if you're trying to do something just because of the money, you're going to get a lot of no's at times. People say, oh, this person's just trying to make money. They're not really passionate. So first time something hits the fan, this person's out, they're going to break, they're going to couple, and the organization underneath them isn't built on the right foundation. Right. So we chose to build our stuff on the right foundation. I chose to think out the plan. I chose to think about why I designed the homes the way I did, the reason I designed the homes the way I did, and the reason I laid them out. Because the city tried multiple times to reduce the number of units. They didn't want to give us the 10 feet spacing. But we told them, you need more taxpayers. You need more people that's going to get into the community. You need more people that's going to feed into the economic system up and down that road. And actually, when we walked out of that meeting, not only did they want to give me this community, but they want me to build a grocery store now, too.
Wow.
Wow.
Man, clap it up, man.
Is it going to be a tiny grocery store?
They believe that if a person's innovative enough to do that, then it can finally bring a Trader Joe's or Whole Foods like grocery store to College Park, which doesn't exist.
Wow, that's amazing.
And provide its residents something different they can see. Because, what you provide people is what they will do or what they will purchase. So College Park is saying, well, if you guys are going to introduce us something different to see and bring it to bear, then we're open to give you a lot of different things. Wow. But that's different than submitting applications not talking to your political officials in your area, not getting to know them, not taking them out, not understanding what they want and what they need. Because a lot of times in real estate development, we think it's a process. Let me look up the process. Let me look online and see what the code is. Let me see what next step I have to do. But true real estate development is all about understanding the different avenues how to make something work. And that's the one part that I've learned over the last couple of years, is not just being a real estate investor and flipper, but how to be an actual developer. Because developing is all about calculated risk and confidence in that risk.
So it's funny, before you even said that, I was already thinking of your community as like an Atlantic station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now that you just said that, that just solidified like this could really be like a mini city, inner city concept per se.
Yeah.
But let's talk about like your team from the start. Who are some key players you have in your team to bring this to play?
Well, one part was being myself, and then my other major partner on this project, his name is Rashad Jones-Jennings. He's my COO, and he is a former basketball player and real estate investor himself. But we have different lanes. On every team, you just can't get someone that can do something like you. It's great that Mo has a passion for real estate just like me, but I got to get past the passion to see what actual skill set she has that's different than mine. Because where I can't perform in the lane, Rashad can. Rashad's very good at finding in the deepest, darkest corners money that exists for private lenders. That's not my lane. Strategically, I can design a home in my sleep. Strategically, I can talk politically to any political official, given some of my corporate executive background. So that's possible for me. But that's not Rashad's lane, okay? Rashad is from the depths of the hoods of Chattanooga. he's not speaking on a council meeting. But we accept each other and we accept the structure we work. Now, out of that, we were able to develop the different things we did on our team, which was a designer and architect, which we got on our team. Anthony Dunstan, fantastic and talented architect, and then
he's also the designer for.
No.
Not yet.
Yeah, no, we didn't. Yeah.
But fantastic architect. We were able to provide him a vision to get the cottages done, and our future projects are already under work as well. And we also started to get around some people that are very knowledgeable around how to grow us from a scale perspective. Because we thought about scale before we got into this project. We've been thinking around corners for a long time, so that's the reason why we're able to adopt it and change it. And once people start saying, well, how are you going to price the homes at $180,000? Well, did you know that a lot of micro homes are well over $200,000 in the United States? So we wouldn't be uniquely priced at that, nor are we price gouging anyone. And then the second part is that did people know that over 65% of the people that buy a micro home actually have 77% more savings in their bank account than the average person that owns a regular home.
He got that thing. Yeah.
So that tells you that the market for these people aren't just people that are struggling, but people that really structure their lives in a minimalist way to save money, to build wealth. The average person that drives a Tesla or the average person that owns a tiny home actually has 3 times more net worth than anyone else living in a home. So once you tap into that market, into that marketplace, then you move all the way down this spectrum. You may say micro, but ain't nothing micro about the values people put into those homes. And so we went out and we told that story to venture capital people, and we're able to build our team. Now we have a team of people that can go out to talk to different networks from a capital perspective, architects, private money lenders. And so all of them have adopted this project through and through. And you was like, and not one home is over 700 square feet.
Wow.
That's
That's a lot to digest, but
So,
it's motivating because when you think about thinking outside the box, and you know how you said that you got really bored with just flipping and really quickly, so it's just like what can you do? Because I mean, what you're doing, who's your competition?
No, we are the first Black micro-developed community in the United States. So right now, there's no competition. But we are open to a blueprint. We are open to building a network for other people to join, like-minded people to join. So much like I told a lot of people on South Park Cottages, we're going to tell a lot more people on the second project if you want to jump in. And we'll see if people kind of go with it. And also, me and Rashad own 90% of South Park Cottages.
nice. So is the grocery store going to be on that? Is it going to be nearby? Is it going to be in the vicinity?
We wanted to be in the vicinity because, again, we want to incubate it. We want everything to be in and around that, so those people that are no micro homes been able to get to a grocery store really quick.
Right, because he said like a small Atlantic station. So I was like, man, is the grocery store going to be like inside, like outside?
It's not going to be public. It's going to be club.
They are doing something with where that old Target was and where the Mexican restaurant.
But it won't be a grocery store. So, and one thing I would tell people that is in real estate investing is get to understand your geographic plat maps of where you are. Yes, you might know a comp on a street. You might know what most recently sold. But when I mean your geographic plat map, go talk to an actual city planner. Or do you actually know what a city planner is and what they do? Because they will historically and culturally map out what they want in your particular area and neighborhood. And a lot of times you can get ahead of the curve in knowing what to do, and they adopt what you want to do instead of you hoping and praying when you put in some type of variance application. So for us, we didn't really have any hopes and prayers. We knew we didn't even start with applications. We just went and got city council members and said, hey, come out and look at this land. They will come out and do what they need to do if you want to do it. So we didn't think of it as like, please. We took no pleases or help us in this situation. We just went out there and did what we needed to do.
I definitely think that's a good start, because even with the projects we're developing down in Brunswick, that was my first start, was to go to the city planner, because while everyone's concerned, even with pricing and things like that, about the fluctuation of the community and like what if there's a real estate burst or anything like that, like to your point, they're on 5 and 10 year plans.
Correct.
So real estate cycles are part of that, and we're thinking beyond that, and so they help you know where to position it, especially when you talk about long-term wealth, not just I'm flipping and I'm getting out of that community, but I plan to be a part of the community for the longevity.
Absolutely.
So you said 90% of it is owned by you and your partner. How did you convince your private investors on not taking the equity in this?
Well, they didn't. The thing about, look, it costs to believe. So if you don't believe very strongly, you get no equity. At the bottom line, and this is where people talk about like LeBron James and the people that own their brand. If you own your brand and you really own the strategy around what you want to do, the value of that is very intimate to you. So if a person don't really believe, okay, you can give me $5,000, but I'm gonna give you 0.125 of a percentage point of equity, right? And by the time I matriculate down the road, if only I gave away 10% equity and I own 90% of my brand, then I get 90% of the risk. I took the biggest risk. Okay, I take the biggest risk. I do the strategy. I do the hard work. I do the research. And I get people to adopt it. And then once the city adopted it, not only did we change the land price. Now let's tell you, so even if we don't build South Park Cottages, the land price is worth 3 times more than it was, because now it's a multi-density zone piece of parcel. That's actual real property.
Which you can sell right now.
Which I could sell today for 3 times more than what I bought it for just 5 months ago. So in doing real estate development, there's all kinds of different things that you can do to make money in real estate development, not just getting to the point where you actually build a parcel. So if you look around hotels and apartments, pay attention to Atlanta. Every time you ride down the street, what do you see going up? A new apartment building, right? That big money is telling you they are betting on you to rent. And if they're betting on you to rent, they are watching inflationary rates. They said these people are going to get priced out from being able to go splurge. All of their splurge is going to catch up, and they're not going to be able to buy real estate. So you know what we're going to do, big money? We're going to build every luxury modern apartment complex we can in Atlanta, because they're going to come running.
We're going to raise the rent.
And then we're going to raise the rent.
I have a question for both y'all too. Just for people that want to get into the development side of things. Y'all said you can go and get the city planner and bring them. So you mean to tell me you just go down there and be like, hey, what's up? Can you come out here to this lot? Like, how can you walk somebody through that process? What if they haven't actually purchased the land yet? Or if they did purchase it, like, what do they do?
Believe it or not, the people that work in your city municipalities work for you. People think it's the other way around, that I'm asking the city to do something for me. So the process we started was, we said, well, who's the city planner and what is it that they want to do? Highest and best use. You hear that term all the time, right? But if people really know what highest and best use is, highest and best use really means for a city municipality is tax revenue, impact to school zones, millage rates, and what may come long term if that property goes undeveloped. So when we purchased this land, it only had a single family residence that sat on it, that actually didn't sit on it anymore, so it sat abandoned, right? We started looking at the dumping of trash in the area. We started looking at the pollution and the environmental impacts. We took all of those data points down to College Park outside of, I want to build a tiny home and make $1 million. Because they don't want to hear that part. Because that's the obvious thing about real property. What they want to hear about is environmental impact. What are you going to do about these tires that get dumped in this back cul-de-sac? What are you going to do about bringing more revenue, tax revenue, millage rates that helps out to schools, right? We complain about the school districts, but we do nothing to build real estate to improve the revenue that they get, right? So once you bring all those plans to the city planner and say, hey, I got all of this planned. Now I want you to go out and look at this land and see what I want to do with it. They say, what time do I need to be there? We put all city council people and the city planners in a Sprinter bus and took them out to show them what we wanted to do. And then when we finished, they said, well, we're heavy adopters. You just show us a whole plan. 2 months later, we showed them a whole plan. They said, well, this is the best thing we ever seen. The other part about South Park Cottages is 100% adoption of our site plan. They didn't change one piece of that site plan after I wrote it on the napkin.
Wow.
Not one piece.
Yeah, and like you said, it's about building relationships.
Absolutely.
Because their thing is the more abandoned homes they have, the less revenue they receive.
Correct.
So the more you can convert a taxpayer into a project or property, that's all they're about, is creating a tax base. They do that through utilities, through through sales tax in the area, as well as through property tax. So the more properties that you're able to put back online, to his point, they'll be there. How can I get you money, funding, or anything? Because you're bringing more money into the county.
And a lot of vacant land in the city. The city, like when you call, and it's just a matter of just picking up the phone and finding a contact, picking up the phone and calling down there. And you get them on the phone and you'll ask them, say, hey, this is this parcel. I know it's zoned for, this. We're interested in doing this. Do you see that as being something that would get approved? Because you don't want to waste your time going through getting your architect to start designing things, or even talking about ideas that you're not going to be able to go through with. So they'll let you know, oh yeah, you can definitely, just like the land that we just got, or you can definitely do townhomes, or that would be great. You've got plenty of space to do this, do that, do this, do that. You're going to need to incorporate this. You're going to make sure that you're
townhomes. Okay, that's
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I like that.
Got the land through a connect off through, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all doing it.
No.
Wholesale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, just like when you call the city for anything, they'll tell you, and then like every person, supervisor, I put their number in my phone, and that's who I deal with, even when the project starts. So like even with this project that I just finished, I had to call somebody in Watershed, I think it was, and they were just like, oh, well, you need to contact your plan reviewer. I said, oh, I'm contacting his supervisor. I got his cell phone number in my phone, because one of the things since COVID, you were able to get cell phone numbers for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now every person whose cell phone number that I have, I locked them in. Hey, it's Monique. You remember me from da 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 da? They're like, hey, yeah, how's it going? And you finished with that yet? So now as you continue, but they'll tell you everything because they're excited about certain things,
I have a question, because I had a lady in Cobb County today actually tell me there's this client that we have, and she wants to buy a piece of land from us, but she wants to put a mobile home on it. And there's no mobile homes in the area. So I was like, well, I called down to the county, to the zoning, and I said, as soon as I said mobile, the lady said, no, you cannot, in Cobb County, you cannot put any mobile homes on the lot unless it was already grandfathered in. So if it wasn't zoned for that mobile home, then you can't do it. So I'm like, well, dang, I know you don't like no. So what would you do? Did you just take that no? But it's some situations, I guess, it's just like, okay, that's just what their rules are. There's no getting around it. Or
Well, no, you bring up a great point, because College Park actually thought that's what we were going to do. They was like, well, if you bring mobile homes here, the answer is 0 to that. But I was like, no, but I want to bring something that's small. So there's a middle ground you want to meet with them. Just say, hey, why is it a no? Well, they might tell you, well, we want to change the landscape of family planning. So we want this. Do you have something similar to this that you can bring? And then you start working around the edges and say, well, I don't want to build townhomes. I want to build detached, smaller homes, or I want to build duplexes. They'll go with the plan, but they want to know what you think. They're gonna say no because they've done like what Jessica said. These city planners go 5-10 years out. They already know what they want the family makeup to be, what the medium income they want to work in those different blocks that you see. Most people look at those plat maps, what you look on the city, and say, "Oh, that little pink block and that yellow block, those blocks mean something to the city, and they actually mean a number." So you got to dig into that number and say, "What is that?" and then come up with a happy medium. And that happy medium might be, because like with College Park, you might say, hey, I want a tax incentive base. If I bring something that's competitive to the market, I want some tax incentives back when I sell this property. Or if you have land city, I want to get some on a land lease, right? And so that's what we might do for the grocery store. I don't have to necessarily purchase the land. The city owns it, but we're going to do a land lease on it, right? But I still get all the ownership power rights of reselling it and making the same amount of money, but no money out of pocket. So that's the biggest thing about development is to think about development.
Did y'all notice the posture?
Sitting pretty.
You know, the next structure deal that we're going to make, it's going to be in a joint partnership with somebody, possibly on a finance. You have to really understand the network and makeup of the deal. And then when you make that deal up, I think for people that truly want to develop in large scale, you have to figure out your organizational equity structures and what that is. A lot of people don't know what a limited partner or LP is. A lot of people don't know what a general partner is. When they see that title behind my name for South Park, I say, what is a general partner? Well, guess what? A general partner is the person that is the stakeholder, main stakeholder of a lead development. It may not even be the person that has the most amount of money in the deal, believe it or not. Okay? Because although me and my partner own 90% of the deal, we only have 10% of the money in that deal.
That's the way you want to What's that one?
So the quickest way to making millions is in your mental space. Because if you figure out a strategy to make the way to make it work, everyone in it will make a piece of the pie. But it's those visionaries that make the most amount of money. You know, it was the visionary that bought the battery to Car Parkway for the city of Atlanta and got all those deals. He just had an idea to make it happen. You see what I'm saying? So I think more people spend so much time on systems and trying to get by and trying to get to the next dollar that I finally realized with South Park Cottages, which will make me a millionaire, by the way, is that I finally figured out a system that worked for me, and it was always there. From the moment I met John, it was my vision.
He always talked about this for real.
It was my vision. It had nothing to do with the next wholesale deal I got, or the next property I flipped, or the next hammer I threw, or I started thinking around the box a little bit more. And I had a unique opportunity to work for Elon Musk, okay, and working at Tesla. I used to talk to this man all the time. This man sleeps and eats nothing but ideas. If you think he's getting up and trying to build that car or build that rocket ship, he's smart enough to know that he doesn't own those lanes. So he starts thinking about the physical structures in order to get everything around him. And he told me one time, he says, Booker, he said, you know the main difference between people that's truly successful and those people that think they're successful? Is the people that truly are successful, they don't say shit.
Elon said that?
Yes.
I ain't saying shit else. I ain't gonna hear nothing.
And no, Elon said Booker. That's it. He caught me there. That Elon said Booker.
He says they don't say shit and they work. And he says he lets those ideas bloom. And he was mentioning about when he started PayPal and nobody believed him. And he sat in a room. He says all these people that created these things sat in a room when no one believed them, but they believed in themselves long enough and hard enough in order to make their dream a reality.
Say that. Somebody needs to hear that. Repeat that part. Listen one more time.
You have to believe in you more than anyone else is going to believe in you. And then it's not just the belief, it's the work behind it. So it's the sleepless nights. It's the monotony of the idea. For everyone sitting in this room, I know John and Jessica for sure, I've been talking about tiny homes for 3 or 4 years. And everyone will look at them and says, well, I can just build me $1 million modern and make me a good spread. Or I can just build me another flip and make 60. Okay, that's cool, but I'm going to finish this 600 square foot house in 30 days. And while you're still working on that model in 6 months from now, on that spread that you're trying to get that maybe $200,000, I'll be on $1 million deal 6 months from now. And so that's the piece about dividing up the pie that I learned, and the piece I've learned with my new venture, my new ecosystem that I'm in, is that you got to think more scalability, not just one thing at a time. Because when people say, well, because South Park Cottages won't start construction until January, but we're already working on project number 2.
So have you already been permitted for that, or are you going through the permitting process?
We are going through the permitting process, but all the approvals, variance, zoning, all that stuff is already complete.
So how would some individual, like-minded individual, be able to sign up and just, to be a part of the journey? To be a part of the journey and a part of the process. Like, is it dividends? Is it paperwork that needs to be signed? NDA?
So that is correct. So a lot of terms that John just threw out is part of building you a equitable structure. So he threw out terms like non-disclosure agreement, limited partner, general partner, equity split. What that means? There's a difference between equity split and a preferred return. Okay, a preferred return just tells me you give me $1,000, I guarantee you 10% back. It also means you're the first money out of the deal. So before equity partners get paid, the person that gave $1,000, they get his 10% back. We're gonna give John back $1,100. Have a great day, John. Hope you enjoyed your $1,100. But for those people who take a bigger risk or adopt things early, as a culture, we adopt things too late.
Say that again.
As a culture, a black culture, we adopt things too late. We are loving Instagram for its monetary vehicle. But it was a young man that was 26 years old that created Instagram. That is a multi-billionaire. We adopt things too late. Crypto, adopted too late. Development, adopt too late. Tiny homes has been around a long time. Adopt too late. We have to get on the front edge of different things and be more risk, but you can be risk averse by still taking chances and not just following trends. That's one thing I would tell people, because the biggest amount of money, which I finally have learned, is for those who take the biggest amount of risk. If you're taking moderate risk, then go enjoy your moderate gain. But those people that are taking the biggest amount of risk, back when Bitcoin was $100, a person said, you know what, I'm putting in $50,000. A person that adopts tiny homes are our first equity partner. So an equity person means for this. For example, if I go into an equity split, and let's say to purchase a piece of land was $100,000, but there was a lot of risk in that. That means we purchased this land, we don't know if we're going to get the approval, we don't know if we're going to get the zoning, we don't even know if we're going to get permitted. But we do know we can't do nothing without owning the land and having rights to it. Right? So to do that, I say, John, I need $50,000 to buy this land from you. I'm going to put in 50, I'm going to put in 50. So John says, well, I'm going to give you 50, but I want you to pay me back in 2 months. Okay, John, that's cool. So if I figure out a way to pay you back in 2 months, then I'll have to give you no equity.
Nothing else.
But what did John help me do? He helped me purchase the property. So now that I have controllable rights of the property, all I got to do is hustle and figure out a way to pay John back. But guess what John doesn't get when I turn this parcel of land into a community? He doesn't get any of the deal. So, and that's what happened in South Park Cottages. Some people said, oh, I don't believe in you enough. I believe in you enough to purchase this land, but I don't believe in you enough to be in the deal. So I want you to pay me back after 3 months. So we paid all those people back after 3 months, but they got no equity. But if they had got equity, I would have given them 50%. You know what 50% is? Well, FYI, South Park Cottages projected to make $2.7 million net. They would have got 50% of that.
Say that one more time.
South Park Cottages projected to do $2.7 million net out of a $5.7 million revenue development. Out of nothing but tiny homes no bigger than 700 square feet. Now, those early adopters that quit on us from a money perspective, they get nothing. They get 10% back on their $50,000. Have a great day. But for everybody that stuck into it, they become millionaires because they had the biggest idea and they got the city. These city municipalities will absolutely make millionaires out of people. But that's for the people that's taking the biggest risk, the people that's getting hotel, the people that are going to communities trying to do things, the people that are trying to take land parcels and do something with them. Those people make the biggest amount of money. Everybody else makes money too, but the people with the biggest risk take the biggest amount of money.
Well, I mean, you just said a mouthful, but that brings us to, and I know we can go on and on, especially with the knowledge base that you have. Yeah. But that brings us to one of my favorite segments. I ain't gonna lie. So what we do is pick a question, read the question, and before you answer, I ain't gonna lie, and say your answer. Right? So who is a key player on your team? I ain't gonna lie.
Good thing you get that question.
Honestly, honestly, the key players on my team, I ain't gonna lie, is my husband. He's my main investor, my first investor, and he supports me the most to make sure I'm everywhere I need to be, and I need to be all over the place, literally all over the world.
That's dope.
Literally all over the world, and he makes sure that I'm there. So he's definitely a key person in operations. And he helps to handle a lot of the behind the scenes work for the 8 podcasts.
Yep.
But he's always the number one supporter. When you say that thing that's too big, he's like, oh, I guess we got to figure out how to do it. And that's what I love. That's what's up.
That's dope.
It's a lifestyle. Love a lifestyle.
Who inspires you? I ain't gonna lie. So honestly, everybody I keep in close contact, communication, affiliate with, because everyone's always doing dope stuff, and I'm just, just amazed. Like just hearing this, I'm like, oh my god! And like John, like all of you, everybody that I keep in touch, I'm just like, man, that's crazy. I'm just happy to be in the room. I'm just happy to be in the room.
All right. Mine is: are your employees teaching you, or are you teaching them? Okay, I ain't gonna lie. I'm teaching employees right now, but that's because I like leadership. Not everybody likes leadership, and that's something that's very different. So I adopt it. I grow up with it every day, and that's because I wasn't led as a child. So a lot of things of what I do is because we didn't have much of anything. I grew up in Southwest Atlanta. That's the reason why I started developing in Southwest Atlanta. I have a passion around it. But I think you gotta want to adopt leadership in order to teach people. So right now I do teach my employees, but they teach me a lot as well. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
That's dope.
How have you had to pivot your business? So I am not even going to lie.
So the whole thing.
I had to eliminate a lot of things around that were kind of just like distractions or in the way, and I had to really kind of just get tunnel vision on my end goals. So a lot of times you get pulled this way, get pulled that way, and you're such a good-hearted person that you're like, you know what? Well, let me try to contribute here, contribute there. But then when you're allowing yourself to be pulled in so many different directions, then all you're doing is really prolonging your personal success. So for me, I had to really fall back on a lot of things, and I had to just hone in on Monique. And now, you see results, and then you start to be able to see other opportunities, and you can see them clearly when they're presenting themselves, because when you have a lot of just, discombobulation around you, a lot of times your vision gets cloudy, and opportunities, you may miss out on them because you're not focused, so.
Dang, Mo. Alright. Had a moment, my bad. Alright, so what motivates you out of a rut? Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Just depends on what the rut is, but more than likely my faith and my family.
So mine is not really a real question. It says Coke or Pepsi. I really don't drink sodas, but whenever I do Mexican Coke, and that's because it has cane sugar in it. No, it's really not. Okay, no, not that. Not Colombian Coke. Not Colombian.
Just so you know, they call it cocaine.
So it's the Coke in the glass bottle. The Coke in the glass bottle that's made with cane sugar, not high fructose corn syrup, because I do not like high fructose. I watch what I put in my body, so I ain't messing with the plastic Coke. I'm drinking Coke from London, basically. That's what I do. So that's what I prefer. Y'all so silly.
You didn't say it.
Did you say Coke from London?
Well, in London, they don't have anything with genetically modified things, so regular Coke has high fructose. It has a lot of bullshit in it that we don't need to be drinking. No offense to anybody that drink it, but in London, they don't have that. It's not the same. Right? It's not the same thing over there. If I can even eat meat over there, and nothing happens to me.
Really?
Yes, I was messing that food up. So over there, everything is no genetically modified organisms in the food or drinks up there. They ain't playing.
And that's the thing I've actually been experiencing as I've been traveling. Like nowhere else but really the States allow the craziness in the food.
If
but
you
that's
read some of the stuff on it,
right.
even when I go grocery shopping sometimes for the kids, and sometimes I be trying to get them something fun that they really like to eat because I don't eat a lot. I'm like, okay, maybe they want this. And as soon as I turn it over, I see genetically engineered something. I'm like, what the hell? I can't give this to them. Like, I just feel bad. They be mad because they weren't there, but I just can't do it. I read all that stuff. I ain't messing with it. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. Look, Coke or Pepsi?
Coke. Right.
Back to the
Mexican Coke.
from London.
Right. What item would you make tiny?
I have some.
Right.
Right. As per this conversation, definitely some might go
Well,
home.
the question was inspired by the home. So.
Okay.
But another aspect I would make tiny are bills. Agreed. You can make a lot of money, but if you keep spending and keep accruing bills on top of bills, you're never going to acquire wealth. And that I learned that from Cash Flow 101. Because you express different jobs, people make different types of money, but then other people have different types of expenses.
Yeah.
You can make a low amount of money, but if you have low amount of expenses, then you could consider wealthy.
Hence why I'm getting ready to buy a tiny home.
I hope the electric bills are low, man. Right.
Yeah, I mean, we learned so many good takeaways, good gems. I mean, just your knowledge base. But we can go around real quick. Like, what's one takeaway that you got from today?
Oh man, everything.
Man.
This man is well full of knowledge.
Man.
I want to pour it too. That's what I'm saying. No, I love the idea and notion of how to put together a package now to present to the city. To say, hey, don't just think about the property or just on the land itself. Think about the whole culture of the entire neighborhood and the city. Like, what are you really bringing?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's my takeaway. Bring more.
My takeaway was to make sure you know the city council. Pick them up in the sprinter, get them to the property, and also take them to but get to know them. Just building that rapport, like y'all was saying, getting to know the city planners. Seeing what the master plans are. I don't know if that counts too. Just making sure that you're in the know of what's going on, and even going to meetings. So you said you go to some meetings, I think things in it.
It's my favorite pastime now.
Yeah.
Zoning meeting, so much happens in zoning meeting. On that nugget, there's so many people that pay lobbyists to go to zoning meetings, and the decisions happen for your neighborhoods when no one's around. But FYI, all the zoning meetings and everything I went to, there were no people in those meetings, and they were absolutely deciding everything that happened in your community.
Wow. I know that firsthand in this neighborhood.
Now, with a city like Atlanta, because it's so big, like it's so many different parts, is it different? I mean,
Neighborhood
is it
planning
different?
units.
Yeah, so like each area of Atlanta has its own
Planning
city council.
NPU, neighborhood planning unit.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
like their
different
micro. That's like their breakdown of
Like Pittsburgh might have one.
Okay, so you need to know which neighborhoods,
Right.
because I see the sign sometimes, and we be like, yeah, we gonna go.
Don't try them historic areas. They're different. In historic areas, they gotta keep their structure. It's different. But,
what did you ask?
Do you go to City Hall to find out the schedule?
Or actually, yeah, it should be online. Whatever in Atlanta, because it's a larger city, they break it down into those micro groups. But it should have it online, like neighborhood planning units is what it's called here in the city. But it's just community meetings, and it's normally through whatever the county courthouse is that you can typically find this information.
Third Saturday of every month if you're trying to come here in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Me and Johnny Ford are best friends. He's the president of the neighborhood. We're best friends. He loves everything we do.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah. So especially when you want to set up roots and you really want to understand who are the key players, because they're going to be the ones to say yay, nay, policies, and all of that stuff. Not the neighbor. Well, the neighbors are cool too, but it's really the
relationships. So my takeaway from this is, again, and as always, is the relationship. Just being around people and always not being the smartest person in the room. As y'all see, this man gave a whole wealth of knowledge. Everything that he said tonight was like take away from me. So I can't find one thing. You know, your turn on.
My biggest takeaway is that you can go and get your own code created. Booker T went to the city of South Park. They told him no. And he said, you know what? I'm not going to take that no. Go pick these people up in the Sprinter van. And we're going to come out. We're going to network. We're going to build a relationship. And the next thing you know, you get them on your side. And they say, okay, you know what? Because they probably just didn't have anything in place to support what you wanted to do. Right. So now what did they do? They went and created a whole new code because of what they're about to do. So now I can come in and say, hey, you know what? Let me go get that. Yeah. Booker T established his code. I know I can do this.
Yeah. That's
or talk to Booker T and say, hey, look, Booker T, I need you to go back over here. Because I ain't going to do that part. You got the relationship. You take them in your Sprinter van and you sign those rights over to me. And I'll do
sign those rights over.
That's just the result.
Yeah.
But that's just the result of being persistent. You know what I mean? Like, you don't take the no, and you don't even know what the outcome is going to be, but guess what?
You do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You do it anyway.
So similar to Sean, see on facts tell but stories sell. So you wasn't in, I mean, of course, you know, the money's going to be a byproduct, but you was able to get to where you're at because you was able to show everybody in power, like, yo, this is what we're solving, selling this story. And that's what moved them to say, you know what, I want to bet on you. Versus just saying, I want to bring this community and do X amount of dollars. It's like, yeah, we hear that all the time.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was thinking along those lines. How many people have an idea, they're just so firm on their idea without listening how to co-create their idea into the solution for the problem. And I think that's something, like you said, find the edges of what they said no or what they're hesitant about and fuse your idea to be the solution to that problem versus just trying to push what you want down the drain.
And I've always been told, like, if you can solve problems, you'll always make money. Money's not going to be an issue because you're solving a problem.
Well, how can they find you if they want to partner? I know we got first dibs.
Yeah,
270. That's 280 now. But
I ain't number one on there, but I'm like number 3.
But how can people find you if they want to get involved?
People want to find me. They can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, Mr._Booker T, Level Minded Concepts, or South Park Cottages, or www.southparkcottages.com. Hit me up in the link if you're interested in investing in South Park Cottages. You still can. We close out this week. Just as an incentive, if you become an investor, you actually get first dib to getting that link to the pre-sale. So if you want an exclusive link to the pre-sale, just a little hint, you might want to become an investor into the project. But overall, the biggest thing I want to thank everyone here on the podcast today. One thing I want to leave everyone with is this life is about human interaction and human connections. Your solutions come from your willingness to provide an articulated solution and to work with people on that partnership. Everything that I've built in both my professional career and also my real estate career has been built off of human interactions. Not everything's a yes, not everything's a win. I've called John many times. He says, yo, you lost that land. Yo, you didn't get that deal, or you can't get this, or that didn't happen. But you stay connected to what those goals and those positivities are, because nothing's 100% guaranteed win. But the one thing you have to have faith in is that the human connection is organic and it is unique, and you have to be invested in that, not just in your personal selfish investment.
That was a word. That was a word all in itself. Yes. But thank you. We really appreciate you for being appreciate you for being a guest on today's show, man. Big up.
Oh, man.
Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of All Things Entrepreneur. You just got a team. Tell them how to find you. Hit me up on Instagram at It's Jessica Myers.
I am Superstar Shauna with
DC on John.
And together we are Flippin' Love.
You can follow me on Instagram at MoHustle_810.
You can follow me at The Real Grind Guy on Instagram.
You can follow me on all social media outlets at LJ Allen.
Be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel at 8.experience.
Nah, don't talk about it, go do it. All things entrepreneur. All things entrepreneur. It get tough, but you gotta stick to it. Nah, don't talk about it, go do it.